Yeah. Are you familiar with have you heard of Melvin Conway, Conway's law? Um, so basically what it
No.
is, so Melvin Conway he was a computer scientist in the 1960s, and he was a kind of the guy that started multi-threaded parallel processing in computer programs and stuff. But basically from that he observed, and he came out with this statement that's now become known as Conway's law, which is um, an organization's a computer software, a system, will basically mirror the structure of the organization's kind of design. So if your
Yes.
organization looks like, okay, here's shared services, here's my development, and then here's my UI UX team, then you will have a
Mhm.
monolithic brick for software. Versus if you had little spiders in a spider web all talking to each other, you'd have this amazing like distributed Google-esque software underpinning, um, and so a lot of organizations today are in the former, more in the monolithic structure, and there's a big movement today in in digital transformation, right? That's the theme of
Mhm.
the hour today in companies. They're all trying to break down their monolithic systems. They're all trying to create microservices, and they're all trying to create loosely coupled applications because that helps with business agility so that they can respond to customers faster. Kind of think like Lego bricks. So they're trying to move away from like a monolithic toy to kind of building Lego bricks. But they
Mhm.
have this Conway's law working against them because their organization looks like this, but they're trying to get to Lego bricks. So I was curious, what role does so the notion of facilities, so because we want teams to be talking to each other so that we can build distributed
Mhm.
systems. So maybe just comment a little bit from your experience on what role does health, wellness, and how do you now look at health and wellness from that context? Maybe it's facilities, maybe it's gyms, maybe it's soccer matches, maybe it's beer nights, I don't know, bar crawls, whatever. But
Mhm.
yeah, just talk about that for a minute. It's a very hot topic.
Yeah, I when you describe Conway's law, I realized like, yes, I have read that, and it like my brain exploded a little bit because once you read about it, you can't unsee it as you look through the organization and how things work. And so I try to think about like an organization as it's not the org chart, and it's not just a collection of people. It's like many interconnected systems. So there is the structure, there's the culture, which may be implicit. Some of it's implicit, some of it's explicit. There's all the processes and tools, and then there's within people. There's like mindsets, which influence behaviors, and then external to that, there's things like vision, mission, strategy, and all of these things like work together. And so with health and well-being, we think about, the most basic thing we can think about is how does it help an individual flourish? And so, that's we could boil that to just really like thinking about this in the most conventional sense of like, are they getting enough exercise? Are they eating right? Are they sleeping? Healthy behaviors. Then you can start to expand to like, okay, but this works within a team. And so there is things like psychological safety, which will affect mental health. But then there's also these dynamics that affect expectations around behaviors. Like, for example, I remember we were doing an intervention with a team, and we had sponsorship all the way up to the VP of this organization who said like, yeah, work with us. We really want to change the culture around health and well-being. And so we found a team, and we're doing interviews with different team members, and we were asking them about their health and well-being challenges. And some of them cited like, yeah, I don't feel like I can step away during the day to just like get a workout in. Like I feel like I got to be at my desk. And then we went and talked to the manager, and the manager said like, no, that's not my expectation at all. And then so we went back to the employees and said like, well, can you see examples of others who actually do that? And there was one guy in the team who every day during lunch he'd go do his workout. And we said, well, what do you think of him? And they said, oh, we all admire him. And so now we were scratching our head and like, okay, you have your VP sponsorship, you have your manager sponsorship, and you admire this guy who's doing the behavior you want to do. What's going on here? And what we found is we started to ask about leadership and who they look up to. There was one guy, like the most senior engineer, who sat in the corner, never left his desk, like never went to exercise, and they all cued their behavior off of him. But he was not at the top of the org chart. And so like you kind of had to like understand the culture, you had to understand what was the implicit versus the explicit hierarchy to find out what is informing behavior that affects health and well-being collectively within this pod. And so it's like my recommendation to teams is like, hey, we can help you figure out your desired vision. Ultimately, this is your community and you got to own these changes. And so, you know, we seek to work with teams more closely on having that conversation where it's like, we can build all the gyms you want, but if you haven't addressed some of those underlying blockers, no one's going to go use them.